Is the ANC-DA-IFP coalition a return to apartheid? Are COSATU, SACP, and the so-called progressives accurate in labeling this coalition as anti-black and anti-transformation? Welcome to Citizen Concerned, where we remind you to beware of the comrades. I'm Katlego and would appreciate it if you subscribed to our YouTube channel, joined the channel membership, and made a donation to support the work we do. All the details are in the description below. On Friday, June 14th, we as South Africans received news of our new government, sparking a wave of mixed reactions from opposition parties and citizens alike. Supporters view the coalition as a necessary check on the ANC, fostering racial unity. However, critics fear it could undermine decades of transformation efforts, potentially reversing progress towards equality and echoing the legacy of apartheid. Where do you fall? Are you a supporter or a critic of our new government? Please let us know in the comments section below as we explore the reservations that the critics have towards this coalition.
On a personal account, I've this morning met with the president of the ANC, where we had 4 eyes. And I've expressed the wishes and the decisions of the EFF to him. Key amongst others included that we will not participate, as I've indicated, in the government of national unity, because that is a plan B for the Oppenheimer family. We will not participate with the DA and the Freedom Front in the same cabinet, where NSFAS is going to be converted into a student loan.
This serves as a clear reminder of why it's crucial to fact-check when politicians make statements. Take a moment to do a quick Google search to ensure you're getting the full context and accurate information on the matter at hand. Regarding the DA's proposal to convert NSFAS into a student loan, Julius Malema's statements lack full context and accuracy. Stay tuned for tomorrow's video dedicated to exploring the DA's NSFAS proposal in detail. Now let's delve into the second reason why the EFF opposes a coalition with the DA, the contentious issue of the minimum wage.
Where minimum wage is going to be scrapped.
Does anyone else feel that these so-called progressive parties often settle for the bare minimum when envisioning improvements for poor and particularly black South Africans? These leaders earn millions, live in mansions, drive luxurious cars, and wear expensive clothes, yet they advocate primarily for a minimum wage. Minimum wage, guys. How many workers are truly aspiring for just a minimum wage? The real cry is for employment opportunities. Even when South Africans do secure jobs, the aim shouldn't be merely minimum wage, but the highest possible remuneration. How can we ensure that Black South Africans receive equitable pay compared to their counterparts of other races? It's crucial to understand what sets those counterparts apart in achieving higher earnings. Addressing inequality won't happen by constantly highlighting South Africa's status as the most unequal society and attributing blame to white people. Simply offering a minimum wage to a few black people won't reduce inequality either. With their substantial salaries, these leaders should focus on researching and implementing strategies that genuinely reduce inequality. This includes improving the quality of education, promoting stable family structures, providing access to opportunities, and upskilling individuals to seize those opportunities. It also involves teaching negotiation skills beyond settling for minimum wage every time, as if that's the sole ambition for the poor. They want people to receive minimum wage when there are millions of people who would be willing to work for 3,000 Rand or 2,000 Rand for a low-skilled service to a small company. The more we have people earning something small for themselves, the better. That is how economies change. That is how economies grow. How many people are living under bridges? How many people are going to bed with no food? We have seen many people sweeping streets and washing cars for a loaf of bread. If they could earn 2,000 Rand every month, that can be the start of something great for them. The more they continue to work, the more new opportunities show up for them. The minimum wage is actually anti-small businesses. Basically, what the EFF and the COSATUs and the ANC communists are saying is that if you can't pay minimum wage, you're not allowed to start a small business and hire people. If you can't afford to pay minimum wage, then you will have to shut down your company. Are you, as black and white people, sure the organizations like EFF and COSATU are there for you? The day you start your own small business, are you going to be happy to see that the law is forcing you to pay someone minimum wage when you are not ready to pay it? Do you see how this is a silly idea?
Where the gains of 1994 are going to be reversed.
Critics of this coalition are quick to argue that aligning with the DA would hinder the ANC from effectively serving South Africa's black citizens. But consider this. Over the past 30 years, during which the ANC was not influenced by the DA, what substantial progress have they made for black South Africans? Why hasn't the ANC eradicated pit toilets in rural black communities? Why haven't they built safe bridges to protect school children from drowning in rivers? Why haven't they fulfilled the extensive backlog of RDP housing applications? Despite governing during a period when South Africa is widely regarded as the most unequal society globally, black leaders have held power and controlled the country's purse. Yet they've chosen to allocate funds to friends, family, and comrades rather than addressing the dire poverty affecting millions of black South Africans.
While millions of taxpayers' money continues to be wasted on incomplete, substandard infrastructure projects.
Ek daal krag gekry tot hier toe kry ek nou nog krag. Hier staan 'n dag met leerpaal van poppe.
Some citizens, COSATU, SACP, and members of the so-called Progressive Caucus argue that an ANC-DA-IFP coalition would fail black people. But let's be real here. The ANC has already failed black South Africans all on their own. Enough with the blame game. The ANC has been in power for 30 years with ample opportunity to implement policies and legislation that could narrow the inequality gap and make life better for all people, not just black people. What have they achieved with that power? Let's think about this carefully. More and more people have ended up in poverty, including a lot of white people too. It's not as if only black people are in poverty. Indians, whites, coloreds, blacks are in poverty.
People are here because they have nowhere else to go. They've lost jobs, homes, and in post-apartheid South Africa, racial status. Frustrated and isolated, they complain they've been marginalized by the ANC government's affirmative action and black economic empowerment policies, which they say have left them poor and unemployed.
Skilled people with affirmative action, skilled people lost their jobs. And that's where the country went down. If you're skilled for that job, fine. Doesn't matter what color you are. If you're skilled for the job and you can do it, then I think the country will come right again.
The problem is the policies of the ANC. They have made it harder for small businesses to come up because of anti-business laws like minimum wage. The ANC was supposed to have equipped people to take land and use it when they got it through restitution. They didn't do it. The ANC was supposed to buy and distribute land to poor black people, and they failed to do that as well. The law allowed the ANC to expropriate land and distribute it to black communities. Instead, they've acquired more than 6,000 farms and done nothing with them. In the Land Claims Court, they've often processed claims to benefit their cronies, intimidating rightful owners. Similarly, the law permitted the ANC to allocate resources for quality education and essential skills development for black South Africans, enable them to compete fairly in businesses and in the workplace. However, they've prioritized enriching their friends and family over empowering the broader black community. It's not that the ANC lacked the funds for these initiatives. Rather, they chose to misallocate resources to benefit a select few connected individuals. The ANC has also made sure that they do not appoint people according to merit. The results of that are there for everyone to see. The ANC has not been making sure that competence is rewarded with opportunities. Instead, we have Edwin Sodi splurging on slay queens and his incompetence killing many due to cholera. What is this liar Julius Malema and his fellow so-called progressives even talking about? The DA was not there when all this happened. The DA was not involved. Do you know who was involved? Cyril Ramaphosa was involved. Julius Malema was involved. Floyd Shibambu was involved. Jacob Zuma was involved. They were ANC, were they not? They supported it, did they not? There are no gains to protect, guys. Don't fall for the lies from these people. Unemployment, poor education, black people on welfare, load shedding and all the poorly run hospitals are evidence of this. The post office, which has been a part of South Africa for more than 50 years, is retrenching left, right and center. Transnet, another organization more than 50 years old, has been limping and failing to do its job. The DA has nothing to do with that. It's all been the ANC. The DA has overseen the Western Cape and many black people are flocking to get there. Why? Because there's racism. Let's not be stupid here, guys. It's obvious that something is being done right there. And hopefully the DA can help replicate that process across the country. The ANC needs to learn from the DA to start making gains for blacks, whites, Indians and colors of South Africa.
Ngoku kwesi stadium senu for 23 million andiyiboni kodwa i-23 million.
Yes.
When uyayibona?
Ipha eli ngo-2017.
Okay.
Yeah, ngathi iqale elipha ngela xesha.
Okay.
Yeah, then besinomdla kakhulu nathi community ibithethwa okokuba kuzovula stadium.
Saki Sizwe, a township in Kowa, formerly Elliot, offers few opportunities. Sport is one of the few distractions for a troubled community.
Ngoku iyabonakala siyo and siyabona le ndawo obalekela xa bekuthetha bethi ngabayirabha phaa abantwana kisi babaleke kamandi because babaleka ngeenyawo bazakwazi ukuba nenzikenzane.
And then you act like social justice warriors, shouting slogans and making the poor sing while you collect hefty salaries. Social justice warriors achieve nothing. They create nothing. And that's all you are. SACP, COSATU, ANC, EFF, MK Party, just social justice warriors. Good at nothing but toy-toying, burning tires and throwing them on the roads. You achieve nothing. You are competent at nothing except anarchy, shouting and racism. You speak words that sound like justice, but history has shown us that nations have crumbled and burned because of such rubbish words coming out of your mouths.
You drive down the road from Parliament to the airport, and you'll be able to see the shacks on one side or whatever it is. Nothing has changed for our people in the Western Cape.
This woman has the audacity to mention the poor people in shacks in the Western Cape as if shacks are exclusive to that province. Shacks exist in Alexandra, Soweto, Germiston, Free State, Limpopo, and across South Africa. Yet they use this tactic to unfairly associate shacks only with the mention of the DA. There are shacks everywhere across South Africa. That is the evidence of the failures of the ANC. The DA certainly has its weaknesses. However, when compared to the ANC, EFF or MK Party, the DA is a saint. Way, way better.
They've also made some statement and a public announcement even yesterday that whether they're in coalition with the ANC or they're in government or not, or they want to work together in the government, the government national of unity, they are going to continue with their attack to take the issue of the national health insurance in court.
The law allows ANC to oversee public hospitals and clinics, yet they've chosen to misappropriate funds intended for quality healthcare for all South Africans. Now, after their failures, they rush to push for NHI. When many South Africans rightfully distrust ANC's ability to implement NHI effectively, you dismiss their concerns as coming from privileged individuals who don't care about the poor. This is division and deception once again. You're forgetting that healthcare is free in South Africa because the taxpayers are paying their taxes. Instead of making it work, you and your communist buddies have failed to make sure that money goes to good use. You act as though the people who have chosen to pay for their medical aid are committing some kind of crime for choosing what to do with their own money. Personally, I've given birth to both of my children in public hospitals. However, after witnessing the inadequate care during my second childbirth and during my son's hospital admission, I made the difficult decision to sacrifice a portion of my family's income for medical aid. I feel the financial strain of these monthly contributions. I would much rather use the money for essentials like food, diapers, electricity, supporting my elderly mother and the unemployed in my family. But because of your failure to maintain public clinics and hospitals, many South Africans, including myself, are forced into this position. I'm certain that all of you progressives also have medical aid. Acknowledging the substandard healthcare provided to those you claim to represent. Don't you have medical aid, Dr. Mashilu? Floyd Shibambu, Lindiwe Sisulu. Some communists you are, huh? Many South Africans strongly believe in BEE, labor laws, and trade unions, and they strongly oppose contrary views from the DA. But upon closer examination, are these initiatives truly benefiting Black people, helping the poor, and reducing inequality as much as the so-called progressives such as COSATU, SACP, EFF, and many others like Lindiwe Sisulu would have us believe? Are they? You as a Black South African watching this, tell me, how have you personally benefited from BEE? I'm not talking about individuals like Edwin Sodi or Mamkhize, or white business owners who merely comply with BEE on paper to enhance their economic opportunities. I mean you as an individual. Personally, I can share how I've been exploited in the name of BEE, not helped. While BEE appears promising and aims to empower Black South Africans economically, the reality is that it primarily benefits a few select Black individuals connected to political allies and savvy white business owners who use Black employees to boost their BEE ratings. Have you not heard of Black helpers or domestic workers that are directors of companies when they have no clue how that even happened? As for you, me, and many other Black South Africans, poor Black South Africans, supposedly represented by these progressive parties, we struggle to identify any tangible benefits in our lives because of BEE. One important thing to always remember: it's not about the intentions, it's about the consequences. Since jobs are currently the most pressing issue in South Africa, let's focus on creating more employment opportunities for our people. In order to do that, we have to remove the things that stand in the way of small business. Remember, when you put these laws into place, the businesses that suffer the most are the small businesses, among which are many Black businesses and many white businesses that could have been employing millions.
In the CEC, we spoke about us preparing for the 2024 elections in support of the ANC for its total victory.
The alliance partner COSATU urged South Africans to vote for the ANC in the 2024 elections despite clear evidence of declining employment under ANC administration. What kind of organization would endorse a party that repeatedly causes job losses? What kind of organization endorses a party that gave us Zuma? What organization endorses a party that has been stealing and mismanaging our resources and our taxes the way the ANC has for the longest time? Dear comrades, the ANC's policies have led to the closure of businesses. Persistent issues like load shedding and Transnet failures have directly resulted in South African workers losing their jobs as a result of downsizing of companies and closures of many others. Meanwhile, the Western Cape has consistently grown its employment rate by an average of 1.9% per year over the past decade. Tell me ANC, tell me SACP, tell me NUMSA, tell me COSATU, tell me EFF and your so-called progressive friends. Can any other province in South Africa claim such sustained growth? Gauteng, for instance, has struggled to even reach 1% growth in employment. In fact, none of the other provinces nationwide have reached the Western Cape's success. Gauteng, in particular, has seen employment growth at a meager rate of 0.4% annually, indicating a lack of new investments and numerous businesses closing or downsizing despite a growing population. Let's contrast this with the DA-led Western Cape. Since 2015, the Western Cape has created nearly 400,000 new jobs. In stark contrast, Gauteng has lost 55,000 jobs during the same period, despite having nearly double the population of the Western Cape. And by the way, these jobs in the Western Cape are not reserved for white people. They are not jobs that black individuals are excluded from. The DA's performance has nothing to do with race. Black people are successfully securing these jobs in the Western Cape. Even government and municipal positions, which in other provinces may be influenced by connections, bribes, and other factors, they are based purely on qualifications in the Western Cape, open to anyone regardless of race. Many people are relocating to the Western Cape in search of employment. Why? Because of alleged racism by the DA. Tell me, why? We are not concerned with whether the DA is white or green. We focus on their policies. There are aspects of the DA that I strongly disagree with, but the truth remains. They make a better coalition partner than the EFF and the MK party combined. Our decisions are based on facts, not skin color. Only fools refer to skin color. Why should I care about the Western Cape, that it has racist people when I have a job to feed my stomach and my family? The opinions of races don't bother me more than the availability of good, efficient healthcare, reliable electricity, jobs, and low crime rates. So the DA wants to take us back to apartheid. How exactly? Honestly, I really want to know how the DA wants to take us back to apartheid. I didn't see it in their policies. So where is this evidence that says the DA wants apartheid and colonialism to return? Do you remember that we have a constitution? Do you know what the constitution says? If the DA were part of the parties who seek to change or even abolish parts of the constitution, then we might have reason to consider that they could bring back apartheid. However, our constitution is robust enough to prevent such actions. Our political opposition is vigilant enough to recognize any signs that might suggest a return to apartheid. In fact, we have MK Party, which actually wants us to remove a lot of the things that protect us from evil leaders like Jacob Zuma. They have been quick to label non-racial issues as racial attacks. So rest assured, if anything resembling apartheid policies were proposed, they would be fiercely opposed and loudly condemned. Don't forget, there are many white people who fought for black people to have equal rights right here in South Africa. Many white people care about the well-being of many black people. The same can be said about Indians and colored people in this country. That nonsense will never happen. The era of legalizing racism or slavery or colonialism has ended. We have people that are trying to create fear by telling these lies. Do not believe them.
These ideas are liberalization ideas to open up state infrastructure that was under state-owned enterprises before to private sector exploitation and competition for profit-making, and allowing not only the exploitation, but also, in a way, embarking on a strategic retreat of state involvement in the economy by more and more paving the way for the dominance of the private sector in this area.
One thing I strongly oppose is the privatization of state-owned entities, and I agree with the SACP on this stance. However, the DA's position on this issue doesn't make them a bad coalition partner or mean that they are anti-black, anti-transformation, or anti-poor. The ANC and its alliance partners have failed in many areas crucial to black empowerment. They have not addressed rightful land claims, provided quality education and essential skills for black entrepreneurs and black people to get high-paying jobs. They have not ensured quality health care. They have also failed to discourage behaviors that perpetuate inequality, such as encouraging unplanned pregnancies and single-parent households. These failures cannot be blamed on a white or capitalist party, but squarely on the ANC, SACP and COSATU alliance, who claim to represent black people, by the way. Yet COSATU, SACP and some ANC members have the audacity to criticize a party that has arguably governed more effectively than the ANC and all its children. Time to acknowledge these shortcomings honestly and bravely. Working together, whether as capitalists or communists, is essential for economic growth, for employment and welfare. Continuing to work in isolation only deepens division and prolongs the suffering of those you claim to represent, the workers and the citizens of South Africa. We have to show each other respect and love, whether black or white, and work together to build without shouting silly slogans that only serve to racially divide our nation. Failure to recognize this suggests that perhaps the true interests of the people were never the priority from the start. In conclusion, is the new ANC-DA-IFP coalition a necessary check on the ANC fostering racial unity? Or will it undermine decades of transformation efforts by the ANC, COSATU, SACP alliance, potentially reversing progress towards equality and echoing the legacy of apartheid? While based on the evidence presented, those warning of regression in progress and transformation are attempting to instill fear among black South Africans, aiming to maintain their relevance without providing conclusive evidence. It's crucial to recognize their narrative as one that perpetuates racial division. If the ANC, DA, and IFP can effectively collaborate, it will demonstrate to South Africans, regardless of race, that we are all united in our desire for a peaceful and prosperous nation. The solutions to South Africa's challenges require unity and collaboration from all of us. This coalition may render certain parties and their agendas irrelevant. Perhaps it's this realization that is causing discomfort among COSATU, SACP, and the newly formed Progressive Caucus. Another crucial point to always remember: politicians have no incentive to prioritize your best interests, and more importantly, they face no consequence for actions or policies that are bad for you. They generally look out for themselves. Thank you so much for watching. Please share this video with other citizens, subscribe to the channel, and join the channel membership or make a donation. All details are down below. I'm Katlego. This is Citizen Concerned, and until next time, beware of the comrades.